All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video. It's Monday morning, and every week for this last month and a half, coming off the weekend, the politics has been intense. You know. Now, this morning, I want to do a reaction to Anton Daniels. Anton Daniels had a panel of black people discussing why would they vote for Kamala Harris. It's interesting because you're going to see Anton break it down how most black women are voting for Kamala Harris merely because she's a woman. They want her to be a black woman to justify it, but really it's feminism and underlying dissatisfaction with what they consider dominant male patriarchy. So it's very interesting that you can dissect that women are voting for her because they feel that her winning empowers them, which is a strange thing to me. That why would a woman have a preoccupation with taking a position or being in a position of a man? You know, men fight the wars. You know, men don't have the help of society, especially a black man, or a poor white man, poor Hispanic. We don't have the support of the government. But ever since the government has joined forces with black women in raising the children in the community through Section 8 and other programs that ostracize men, the black community has been in chaos. Now, the Democrats are going to have their convention in Chicago. Chicago is going to turn red. They flooded Chicago with immigrants. They flooded Chicago with uh, taking up their schools and resources to fund the migrant invasion and letting the people and the citizens of Chicago suffer. But this preoccupation with gender politics is a phenomenon that's rooted in feminism. Rooted in feminism, the LGBTQ community. It's like they have all aligned themselves against men. Is this really a culture war to where the women have aligned themselves against men, against the rule of law, and have taken a political position that will ultimately be the downfall of this country? If you study the history of Rome, this is starting to look like Rome right before it fell. Rome opened its borders. Rome allowed all kind of debauchery until it totally collapsed. And I was watching other videos today how India was celebrating Kamala Harris, how the village that her grandparents was born in were out. And it's like, why do you want this country to be ran by a foreign person just because she's a woman? See, Obama tricked us with that I got a tan, so vote for me. And we went for that in the black community and got nothing from it. Well, I'm not going to hold you up with my commentary because I want you to see this panel that Anton did. Shout out to Anton Daniels out of Detroit. This for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and education. Pay close attention to these people as they talk about this situation. Let's go.
Okay, so Paige, you pro woman. I got to hear what you got to say, y'all.
I am pro woman, but in this situation, I don't think that she's going to win. I think it's good for entertainment and us women and black women at that. But as far as you men, black, whatever color, I don't think y'all are going to allow it. I don't think y'all are, and I think y'all are going to be.
Now look how it's starting off. she's already created division between black men and women. And it's ironic that black women don't consider themselves anymore as a part of the black community, as a part of the struggle. They consider themselves a separate class. And you can blame that mainly on the Democrats who undermined the nuclear family and put them in a position to where they could usurp the man's authority by becoming the breadwinners and a lot of other things that have kind of decimated the black community culturally, has undermined the conservativeness that once was our hallmark of holding our communities together. And it has a very sinister plot because listen how they're talking.
And together with your votes and vote against her. That's what I think.
Would you vote for her? Let me ask you a question. Would you vote for her?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm going to just be real honest with this. She's a black woman.
Yeah. They folk, not Kim folk.
I think it goes back to what somebody was saying, where it's not voting for someone, but majority will vote for somebody else just to.
And I'm going to stop right there for a second because I want y'all to hear this. She said because she's a black woman. First of all, Kamala is not a black woman. Everybody knows this at this point. I think women are voting out of a dissatisfaction with men and a hostility towards men and patriarchy, which is strange because most of them claim to be Christian, and the Bible is very clear as what the roles are in relationships pertaining to the nuclear family. So it's almost like a rebellion in this country against Christianity, the Bible, God, and men. It's like there's some evil person or entity whispering into the ears of women, making them hostile toward order, divine order. Let's listen to some more.
Just hold on. Let me line this out.
I think majority.
Is it only because she a black woman?
Yeah.
Let's put Sex Array in the office.
She's not black, friend. She's not black.
Red is wait. Let's just say it don't matter.
Isn't she half black?
Well, listen.
Why
Whether she half black,
vote for her?
Hold on. Let's have this conversation. Whether she's half black,
she's half of two of the most prosecuted.
It doesn't even matter. None of that matters. Why only because of that?
Because I would love to see a woman in office.
Oh, shit.
I want to give us a shot. I mean, how many presidents have we had that were all men? Like, let's.
All right, vote for Hillary.
Hey, listen, Paige. Y'all seen what single women did to the black man? Like, oh shit! Hold on, y'all seen how y'all messed up the head of the household? Y'all want to mess up the head of the country? Let's be honest. I ain't gonna say all.
What he's saying is a controversial statement, but it's true to a certain extent. Black women are responsible in part of the destruction of the black community. When we see all this gang violence in Chicago, all this gang violence in Detroit, these are somebody's children that are committing these heinous crimes and destroying each other. And that comes because there is no community. It's just a hood now because there's no nuclear families. Families make up the communities, communities make up the states, states make up the country. So we have been broken down at our most rudimentary levels. And that is why you see chaos. And the chaos will only intensify if this is allowed to continue.
Single mothers, but let's be honest now, we got a prison full of
That is so incorrect. You said single mothers did what to the household?
Single folks, they messed it up. They gave single mothers a choice. They said, you want welfare or you want the husband to be around. The women said, well, it sounds fair to me. And they took the deal. And ever since then, it's been messed up out here. Can we not agree to that? I'm so broken, bro. Honestly. Like on everything, on my father's grave. I am so broken right now, man.
Why?
Do you not see how that's a bad idea?
Elaborate.
Okay, so We're in 3 proxy wars with some of the most powerful leaders in the world. She failed at the border, in which we have an estimation of 15 to 20 million people illegally into this country. That is literally overtaking and bankrupting Chicago to the tune of over $400 million per year, and they're in a deficit. Oakland is going out of business. San Francisco ditto. California, $65 billion deficit. New York, they're literally cutting trash, in which they are the rattiest, dirtiest city, and they've taken up resources as far as free healthcare, free hotels to the tune of $600 a day. They're literally taking over your schools. Your taxpayer dollars are going to fund the migrant crisis. She was supposed to be in charge of this. We have a failing economy. Every single day I see people getting on the internet talking about $30 an hour is the new minimum wage because inflation is fucking out of control. At one point, it was at almost 10%, depending on what city that you in. She has no policy, no record to stand on. One of the biggest things that she did in her career was lock up more black men than ever before. But we sit here and vote her in office on identity politics. The very person that she was under as far as the president of the United States of America, she called him racist during the debate, which shows you how fake she is. And the only thing that we can stand on from a policy perspective is whether or not she's black and she's a woman. We did that during the Obama administration, and he didn't do anything for black people. As a matter of fact, y'all complain because the only person that he did, or the only group of people that he really stood for is the alphabet community, and that's his landmark thing that he's still standing on today. So the only thing that we have to stand on is identity politics. That shit didn't work with Tiffany Henyard in Dayton, Illinois. It didn't work with Karen Bass. It didn't work with Lori Lightfoot in Chicago. It didn't work with Brandon Johnson that then took over her position of Chicago. It didn't work with Andre Dickens in Atlanta. It didn't work with Eric Adams in New York. It doesn't work across the country. Every single Democratic city is a hellhole. And we sitting here talking about identity politics?
And you can't ignore that fact that, like, even in Chicago and Michigan, we have Democratic governors and Democratic mayors. And look at California with Newsom out there. Everywhere there is Democratic leadership, the community is in chaos. The community is a war zone. The community is flooded with immigrants and drugs to the destruction of the original inhabitants of that area. And at some point, you have to realize that this is not coincidental or accidental. This is a design to eradicate what used to be Black American communities.
And to further help y'all understand, bro. Speaking of identity, if y'all want to know who Kamala Harris is Nunu off of ATL. Okay? When it come time to play like she a black woman, she gonna put on her biggest hoop earrings. She gonna put on her Timbs. She gonna tie her Timbs up. I don't know who tie up Timbs. She gonna pull out her house, put them on her greens. And this how black she not, y'all. She put her greens in a bowl so it didn't touch the cornbread, y'all. Oh shit. What black family you know who put the greens in a cup so it don't touch the cornbread? Y'all, the woman ain't black. Her daddy was Jamaican. Her mama was Indian.
And another thing that people should be offended, when you look at the pictures of Kamala growing up, Kamala grew up practicing Hinduism, a Hindu. And we're going to say allegedly because they scrubbing the internet of her original information. So you have to really be on top of your research. But allegedly, she grew up practicing Hindu with the red dot on her head or whatever, which means she would have no respect for Christianity or Islam. And her Jewish husband, who's closely aligned with Israel, as I've said before, the Arabs better be careful because I believe people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib are actually selling out their people just like the boule and bourgeoisie are selling out Black Americans, because they would have to know with a Kamala presidency and her husband in the background running things, that would be very crucial for Arabs. You notice Kamala Harris has no relationship with Arabs. You know what I mean? She is very pro-Israel, which is her right to be. But who is this lady who passes herself off as a Black American, who knows she's Indian and married to this Jewish husband, and these Black women are voting for her specifically because she has a vagina, allegedly?
That relationship stank, first of all. Second of all, she is not, if Drake ain't like us, Kamala definitely ain't like us.
Hey, can I do a straw poll right quick? Who's voting for Kamala Harris? Raise your hand.
I ain't heard her policies yet. I can't say that I'm not voting for her.
So, yeah, that.
Nobody voting for Kamala Harris? You got one person? Is that it out of 10?
It's too early to really say for any candidate.
No, man.
It's
over, man. Look, the Democratic National Convention is in August. And by August, they got to have their person. They got to, ain't no too late. You already know you're going to vote for it now. So look, who's voting for Donald Trump? Raise your hand.
You're muted, Anton. Anton, you're muted.
Here's the thing. Here's the problem with that, though, ABL.
We are liars.
We listen. You know how many people.
I want everybody to be honest. I want everybody. If
it's not gonna happen, ABL. You know how many people gonna admit that they actually supported Black Lives Matters? Zero. You know how many people actually admit that they voted for Biden? Zero. I do straw polls all the time, and people lie. ABL sound like a woman. Y'all just be honest. I ain't gonna get mad. Like, nigga, stay up for the lie, nigga.
Well, I can say that I was definitely one of the people who voted for Obama because he was Black. I definitely was one of the people who said I was going to vote for Trump, but in the end, voted for Biden. I was one of the people who, when Black Lives Matter first came out, I was hashtag BLM and all of that.
Carrie!
I'm being honest.
Because she being real.
I'm being honest. And the reason that I did it, I was raised a Democrat. I was raised that way. My dad he was a campaign manager for our local councilman. We had to go knocking on doors. We had to pass out flyers. I worked for a Democratic assemblyman. I was raised Democrat. So I was just kind of following along. And then finally, thankfully, when COVID hit, I think Kevin Samuels started kind of talking about some stuff with politics too. Like some of the people who I started listening to during my time down, I started understanding certain things, and it dawned on me, I really don't know what Barack Obama did while he was in office. So I started researching, and I started learning, and I'm like, oh my God, like a lot of the stuff that I have had issues with the trans, like that whole world stemmed back from that administration. And then some of the stuff, and I'm not saying he didn't do good things, but my point was it was eye-opening to me at how like totally oblivious to real issues I was, and how I was just following along with the crowd. And the thing about the internet is you can find your home. You can find who to watch, who to listen to feel good about your decision. You can find your space. So you can't even really go online to educate yourself. You really, in my opinion, have to kind of be like a lone wolf to really figure out what's going on in the world of politics. So lately what I've been doing, and ChatGPT is my best friend. I've been talking to him about every candidate, like in all possible ways. I've been watching all of the congressional hearings,
her imaginary.
I call ChatGPT is Enrique. I call him Enrique. That's what I call him.
You know, ChatGPT is engineered software. It's not really true artificial intelligence.
We don't have to. It's that no point in arguing that with me because I love ChatGPT. So listen, the point is that
that's another example of the mentality of a lot of Black women. And I'm not trying to be misogynistic, but she doesn't care where she gets the information as long as the information supports how she already feels. You know what I mean? And what you're seeing in this election is they really want to say that Black men are being misogynistic because we don't support Kamala Harris. But why would we support a corrupt prosecutor that victimized and decimated our people almost to the degree of a Joe Biden with the crime bills and the drug laws? It's like black women and their dissatisfaction are voting for the destruction of the black man. I'm going to say it again. Black women are voting for the destruction of the black man, the black male. They are voting for the destruction of patriarchy. They are voting undermining the Bible, the church, and the nuclear family out of an emotional idea of self empowerment and improvement that is a falsehood in reality. Russia and the rest of the world will never allow y'all to be a power broker on a global scale. And once you alienate your own men who you say don't respect you and protect you, you will be up for annihilation by the rest of the men of this world. The Chinese, the Russians, the Arabs, even the Indians where Kamala comes from, the Koreans. Once the black man is marginalized to the point he is neutralized in his own community, he may say, forget black women, y'all protect yourself. Because if you take a poll right now in Detroit and you can say, if a black man is riding down the expressway in the dead of winter and there's a black woman fixing a flat tire on the side of the road, he will not stop unless it's the immediate family. He will not. And she will be on the side of the road and below zero fixing that tire. Because the gender divide has gotten so vicious and malicious is that we're almost becoming each other's enemies. Because the Democrats will do anything to maintain power, and their constituents think that they will benefit from that power, so they are on the same agenda with them. And that's deep.
The point is,
I get no free game. You can take it tonight. That's fine.
It's not. I got you. The point is that what I have been doing, I go to all of.
I am running to be president of the United States, and I need you with me in this fight.
So
devil. I am asking you to pitch in to help
the different websites where they.
I'm gonna say this. I didn't do a story on Sonya Massey, the lady that was, unalived by the cop, because I felt like that would be benefiting on somebody else's misery. But I remember last year the 8 black women that were unalived in the grocery store. I remember the AMC church that Dylan Roof went to. The boule and the bourgeoisie have become the face of civil unrest, the face of misandry, the face of anti-men. But they have security and they have people protecting them while they leave the people that they're influencing and indoctrinating helpless, because they still won't give you a crime bill. Have you seen Kamala Harris speak against what happened to Sonya Massey with the cop unaliving her? They don't care about you. You as black people, the Democratic Party only use you as a voting bloc that they are trying to replace with immigrants.
Are supposed to list like what the presidents did while they were in office and what they're standing for. So long story short, I promised myself I'm going to make my vote based off of me doing my research, one, and then two, I had to ask myself, what are the most important issues for me? So like the other day when this whole thing with Biden happened, one of the news people were like, Kamala, she's so vocal about the whole abortion thing, and that's like the big item. And I'm like, okay, I can care about that, but in my scope, that's not the most important issue. So why that's not a draw.
I'm going to stop there, and you can go to Anton's channel and see the entire thing. But It's a sad state of affairs when in a country that is supposed to be a Christian nation, the main dividing factor is abortion. They want to say that, oh, it's women's right to choose. Call it what it is. It's abortion. It's abortion. That is the most important thing to these people. Abortion and sexual gender re-identification. That's sad in itself. At some point, I believe that Kamala Harris may be a divine chastisement to a wicked country. This is like Babylon in Revelations in the fall of Rome. I think if she's elected into office, I think she will usher in Armageddon. And I know that may sound like hyperbole, but the wickedness that you see in the undertone in this country is sinister. A whole sector of our communities, all they want is abortion, the right to destroy the fetuses in their womb, as if they don't know that the stem cells are being utilized and sold on a global market. That's why it is so important to the government to keep it going. That's deep, because at this point we have to realize that this is a battle against good and evil. Well, it's Monday morning, it's still early, so I'm gonna end on this note. Shout out to Anton Daniels and his panel, and support Detroit's Black Thought and Action Collective out of Detroit. This Detroit's HPTV signing out. As always, salute to all patriots. Keep your head on the swivel. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace.